Ndisuvacho podcast happening right now. When Tinashe. This is where we talk and connect on the state of Zimbabwe and the Zimbabwe we would like to see. Our motto is, if not us, then who? In this podcast, I want to talk about Zimbabwean culture and how it really just has messed with us, our generation really, for a really long time. So I grew up in a liberal household by Zimbabwean standards. By that I mean my parents were in touch with the changing cultural playing field that was evolving in relation to the traditions that they grew up on. Culture is a pain point for me though, because if you remember in episode 1, I mentioned Zimbabwean culture and how it dictates that an adult cannot be questioned. Translated, "Munhu mukuru haabvunzwe." By adult I mean someone who is older than you by at least one generation. So back to my point. Our culture says that adults can't be questioned. If you dare toe that line, you're met with a backhand across the face, verbal annihilation, or straight up rejection. That's our culture. When you look at what's happening in Zimbabwe, you have a 92-year-old man who has been questioned by a 39-year-old. The age gap is epic. The questions are all relevant, but the generation being asked is the one that responds with inflicting pain or inducing fear. So it's a no-brainer that it's difficult for the elders to grasp the concept. Turn to the ones that fall between the ages of 39 and 92. Those are the ones that refuse to see things differently because their point of reference is the generation ahead of them. This is in the general sense, of course, because there's some who have chosen otherwise. For the ones who can't, or who can't think outside the box really, these are the ministers who are 55 years or older. You and I already know that all they want is their time in the sun. Some sort of recognition for reaching a certain age and passing on that fear. They are the victims of the oppressors and now look to oppress. Crazy, isn't it? Our generation though is the one that's suffering in the midst of this. We were labeled born free, but were we really born free? We know what a good Zimbabwe look like. You and I have lived in it, but we've also lived through a downward spiral of empty promises where the adults have failed to deliver. So when you hear us say enough is enough, and I'm talking to you, the elderly, we see that you can't handle the culture changing. And by the elderly, I'm not talking about the ones that are looking at helping their children go or get ahead, or their grandchildren get ahead. We know that the ones that are really shaken up are the ones that have been given the authority to run the country, but have failed. We know your status quo has been rattled. So when we say enough is enough, our volume gets louder. What you need to understand though is that you have frustrated and hurt our generation. And you're not allowing us to speak because you think that we have no ideas. But we have ideas that can help us. All of us. Allow us to show you where we are headed. Hand us the baton so we can continue running. We want to run the country forward, not backwards. Not keep it stalled and tired. We see you're tired and want to give you the rest you deserve, really. But we can't help if you won't let us stand in the lane. Why are you so afraid? Why can't you say ndaneta? Or when you make mistakes, wanang ndakanganis? Wisdom is not determined by age. Wisdom is gained by the willingness to learn. We know of many wise people who are young but have chosen to learn. You could be 100 years old and still be the dumbest person amongst 20-year-olds. Try help your child do their homework tonight and you see exactly what I mean. All I can say is I am disappointed, as I'm sure many are disappointed too. You were our point of reference, but in our disappointment, we now see that we need to chart our own path. You think you know, but you have no clue. Hamuzive, because what you choose to do with the help we offer is arrested. You speak of succession plan, but there has to be success for there to be succession. Think about it. Hapana chisingaperi though. Everything has an expiration date. The question is, which side will you be on, Manababa Namai? Isusa Jamir, Ndisuvacho. If not us, then who?